Gene Policinski, the COO of the Newseum Institute, is joining us now in the Journalist Memorial to talk about the state of the First Amendment. The report just came out. Who does this report? Is it the Newseum and the Freedom Forum who does the research, or do we partner?
The Newseum Institute conducts the survey, has conducted it since 1997 through its First Amendment Center, which operates here at the Newseum and at the First Amendment Center at Vanderbilt University in Nashville. And we have an independent polling firm that does this for us, has done it every year since '97. And you know, it's the usual national sample. We sample 1,000 adults. It's nationwide. This one was done in May. We're releasing it in June.
What does it say?
Well, it says mixed message as usual, I think, for the report. We find that there's a lot more support for student journalism, which is encouraging. But we find that the public remains pretty skeptical about whether the media can report without bias. In fact, the numbers tick down just a little bit when it comes to saying that they do report without bias. On the other hand, there's tremendous support for the role of a free and independent press as a watchdog on government. So there's mixed messages in this. We did some other sampling on questions that impact the First Amendment beyond the press. We looked at the issues today regarding same-sex marriage and whether people should extend services in health care. Interestingly, when you get to something essential like health care, about 2/3 of the country says that businesses, even if they have religious objections to providing, say, contraceptives or abortion, that about 2/3 of the country says that they should be required to provide those essential services. When you get to a question that's a bakery and wedding cakes, it's about even in the country. So the public is making a very, I think, intelligent decision, not all one way emotionally. Interestingly, when we talked about journalists and their sources, there's still pretty good support for opposing court orders that would require journalists to reveal their sources. But that support has actually declined over the last 10 or 15 years by 10 points or so, percentage points. I find that interesting in that the arguments for journalists retaining their sources are probably more public now. So I think, again, the public is making a very serious sort of what sort of protections do they want to extend and how often. We saw this year, for example, in the support since 2001 for allowing students to write about controversial subjects in their school newspapers or in their school media without the permission of authorities. In 2001, it was in the 40s in terms of adult support. It's in the high 60s. That is a significant shift.
Yeah.
I think it might be a reflection of the fact that adults have finally woken up to the fact that even before the internet, kids talked among themselves. But now you pull out the magic phone and you can talk about anything. And actually there's an argument to be made that you're probably better off with kids tackling a controversial subject in their student publication where there's an advisor and it's public and there's some accountability, their name's on it, than just tweeting away with no supervision and who knows what rumor. The drop in sole news consumption of a print product is way down, rise in the internet, but television remains essentially the mass medium where we get most of our news. It's somewhere between 55 and 65% seeing whatever poll you want to read. So when a big story happens, people turn first to television, but increasingly they're getting maybe alerted to that story through Twitter. They may be exchanging comments about it on Facebook or Twitter. So the old question, I think, when the internet first came along was, where do you get most of your news, or where's your source of news? The proper question probably today is, what's the blend of news that you get, and how do you get it? Because, again, you might be alerted to something on Twitter, go to a television set, look at the report,
confirm it, and then
talk about it on Facebook, maybe pick up some additional facts, and then post a comment or three. And you're using this blend, which I think is very healthy, but which certainly multimedia and any news organization today either takes that into account or goes out of business.
Gene, where can people read the whole report if they want to?
You can go to firstamendmentcenter.org and find the full report, and actually all of the numbers since 1997.
Great. Thank you so much, Gene. You've got a very busy day, so we'll let you get back to your hard work at the First Amendment Center and the Newseum Institute.
Thanks.